to Banette the Terrible, to the new called Keeper of the Union, featuring our Morpeko and Mewtwo V Union with the new Riley from Lost Origin. This is the new supporter that reveals the top 5 cards of a deck and have your opponent choose 2 of them, discard those cards and put the remaining 3 into your hand. While playing this card with a new Banette from Lost Origin with the Puppet Offering ability, helping you retrieve any supporter from the discard pile by putting it into the Lost Zone. We're also playing our Mirage Gate and Lost Vacuum to help us charge up our V Union immediately after the summon. To make sure our opponent doesn't discard too many of our item cards with Riley, we have 4 PokéStop to help us put them into our hand early in the game, and also extra copies of those resources just in case they show up at the top 5 cards of our deck. In addition to our Riley, we're also playing 2 Comfey, 2 Marnie, and 2 Colress Experiment for the draw support. To summon our basic Pokemons, we're playing 3 Vapor Pass, 3 Quick Ball, and 1 Capture, with 3 Ultra Ball for the free search and discard, and 2 Great Ball to get any Pokemon from the top 7 cards of our deck. We also have 1 Peonia to help us get our remaining V-Union pieces from the prize, 2 Energy Recycler, and 1 Rod to help us shuffle back our Pokemon and energies, 1 Escape Rope and 1 Air Balloon for the switch, 1 Boss's Order for the Chopper play, 1 Manaphy for the bench barrier, 4 Basic Lightning, and 5 Basic Psychic Energies. So that's all for the deck list. Now let's go for some gameplay! Okay, let's go here for our first game versus Palkia V-Star with Inteleon. So they got Shady and Quick Shoot. Quick Shoot is helping Palkia do a knockout against V-Stars because it's basically doing a max of 260 damage if both players have a full bench. Without the Choice Belt though, if you have a Choice Belt and Inteleon, you can actually kill off a VMAX. So you don't really need the Quick Shoot, you just need like a Howlucha on the bench. But if you don't have enough draw support, I think Quick Shoot would actually help you because you are using ability to basically search for any training card and also snipe for that extra damage as well. So I think Inteleon is the best combo because you get to play Irida, which is basically a full-on water deck, and you know, with water trainer and water item cards like Capacious Bucket. If you play Bibarel though, I think you can actually play, you have the freedom to play Raiden Howlucha, which would be interesting to watch. With Choice Belt and Howlucha, you can actually kill a VMAX, doing 260 plus 60 more damage with your subspace Swell. So right now, they have no Palkia on the bench, and they actually have Greninja on the first turn, already attached the energy. So we have to watch out for Moonlight Shuriken, that's why we have our Manaphy already benched. Make sure you don't ignore Manaphy. Be hyper alert whenever you see a Greninja, even in a Lost Box, because they can quite easily play Mirage Gate and have like only 3 copies of Water Energy in the entire deck and somehow magically Mirage Gate for those energy at the right time. You never know if they have Recyclers in their deck, you never know when they're going to play the Mirage Gate, you never know when Greninja is going to attack. So make sure you bench the Manaphy. If you see a Greninja in play, playing against a Lost Box, make sure you just bench the Manaphy. Sometimes you don't have the space for it, but for this deck we actually do, because I don't think we have enough space to fill up the last spot. And if we play Banette, we actually get to empty the bench. We get to empty 1 bench spot by playing its ability, because if you play Puppet Offering, you actually have to lose your Banette, and losing the Banette actually empties up a spot for you to play your V Union, for you to summon that card by, you know, having 4 pieces in the discard pile. So we got quite a lot of Morpeko discarded. We just need 1 more piece. And don't forget to discard your next V-Union as well. So once you summon your first V-Union, already you have to be thinking about summoning the next one, because you actually have to pull off a double V-Union summon to be able to win a game, to be able to guarantee a win, because if you don't summon your second V-Union, you have no other attackers, we have no Sableye, we have no Cramorant, we have nothing but 2 V-Unions. So once the first one dies, we have nothing else to attack with. If we don't summon our V-Union, we're done for. So that's why I say, immediately after, you know, pulling off your first V-Union, you have to think about pulling off your next one. You have to think about getting out the second, your Mewtwo or your Morpeko, once you have the first one already. Okay, here comes the V-Star. Palkia, insane Palkia. Oh, I'm pretty sure they benched it this turn, my bad. Okay, they got a late bench. That's fine. We're gonna play our PokéStop before doing the Riley, I think that's best practice, because if you play PokéStop first, you actually have a better chance of collecting your item cards rather than losting them. Because if you lost too many of your Mirage Gate or your Energy Recycler, then you wouldn't have enough to play it later on in the game, and we actually need those cards. If they discard our Mirage Gate with Riley, Riley is actually helping our opponent if, you know, if we end up having too many of our item cards at the top 5 cards of our deck. If we end up discarding our Energy Recycler, that would be pretty bad. So that's why I say always play PokéStop. Sometimes it's a bad thing, you never know. It really comes down to luck, honestly. But if you're lucky, PokéStop is going to help you save your item cards. It's going to help you collect those Mirage Gates, those Energy Recycler into your hand before playing your Riley. You actually get to put them into your hand first. You know, it's basically a secure, you know, a safety net of sorts. You know, if you discard your Pokemon, we have that one rod to shuffle back our Banette. And if you discard your V-Union, that would be a plus. So PokéStop for a V-Union deck is actually very, very helpful. We have one Banette as well in the final list. This deck doesn't actually have a Banette because it's one of the earliest built. I actually experimented it with 4 Rileys to start, and Riley is not a good card, so we eventually cut down to only 2 copies, and now we have 2 Marnie and 2 Colress as well to help us lost cards faster, so we get to play Mirage Gate faster, and also summon our V-Union faster with Banette as well. So that's actually a very difficult thing. It's a very difficult thing to do because you have to discard all 4 pieces and also lost 7 cards at the same time. If you don't do both at the same time, you cannot actually summon your V-Union and play the Mirage Gate. You need to do both, and you need to do it fast so that you get to play the V-Union to attack. And as you can see, we have 15 cards left in the deck, 14 now, and you know, that's only when we summon our first one. 15 cards left, and we got our first V-Union, so that's quite late, honestly. But it's actually our 3rd turn, though. It's quite early, to be honest. It's only our 3rd turn, and we didn't play a Banette for this game, so I think it's still pretty good. We don't have to play Peonia, which is very, very, you know, it's a very big plus. If you had to play Peonia, you would be delayed by a lot. You, like, sometimes you get no pieces from the Peonia search, and you are forced to play your Banette just to retrieve your Peonia for a second shot, which is just terrible. That means you're wasting 2 turns playing a Peonia instead of your Colress, Riley for your other support, for your draw support. You know, you may actually fare better playing Colress or Riley to help you discard those pieces. If you play PokéStop, though, discarding is going to be a bit more easier with Peonia. If you play losting cards would be a bit difficult, though. You would need your Lost Sweep, right? Lost Sweep and Banette is going to help you, but we only have 2 copies of Lost Sweep. Lost Vacuum, my bad. I keep calling it the wrong name. So Vacuum actually helps you lost 2 cards, right? And it's an item card. You get to play as many as you like during your turn. If you lost with that item, you get to lose a tool or stadium card in play. And in order to play the Vacuum, you have to lose a card in your hand. That means you're losing 2 cards with that one item. And all you need to play is 1 Banette, 1 Lost Vacuum, and a couple Comfeys, and you have 7 cards in the Lost Zone for you to play a Mirage Gate. So that's all we need to do. Play your Banette and Lost Vacuum. I actually wanted to fit in 4 copies of Lost Vacuum, but decided to play Colress instead because this deck doesn't work if you don't have enough draw support. So we need Colress, we need Riley, and we need Marnie, right? If we don't have enough supporter cards to draw, we would be done for. Because then we can't evolve the Banette that easily. We can't get our... if we go second, we would want to be getting our VIP pass because we are not playing that many copies, actually. We only have 3 copies of VIP, 3 Quick Ball, and 1 Capture to get our basic Pokemons. But we do have 3 Ultra Ball, which also helps us search for our basics. Also helps us bench our basic early in the game. We also have 2 Great Ball to get any Pokemon from the top 7 cards of our deck. If we so happen to get basic Pokemon from the very beginning, we can actually bench them immediately from the get-go. So Great Ball, Ultra Ball is actually the perfect card to be playing for a V-Union deck. Actually helps you compress your basic summons as well. you can swap them for your Great Ball to get either your evolution or basic Pokemon. Depending on your luck, honestly, because if you are not lucky, you wouldn't get any card from the top 7 cards of your deck. You wouldn't be able to search for any Pokemon, or you may actually get your evolution instead of the basic when you need a basic, and you may get a, for example, a Comfey when you don't already need to draw cards from the deck. If you need a Banette, you may get something else, right? So Great Ball sometimes doesn't work. But if you get it late game though, you would, probably have at least one Rod or Banette in your hand or inside the deck for you to play. If you have a Rod in your hand, you can play Banette and then draw it back out with your Great Ball. If you have a Banette inside the deck, you can actually discard it with your PokéStop, get your Great Ball and Rod into your hand with the PokéStop. If, for example, you have 3 cards remaining in the deck, well, it's a lot of hypothetical things, but Great Ball, Rod, and Banette actually is the perfect trinity of sorts. So here comes the first V-Star, and they are killing our Morpeko this turn, I think. Pretty sure they are, because they got Hydro Break. I don't think they need to evolve even. Evolving would actually do a lot less damage though. They're doing a lot less damage with Subspace Swell, so they might as well do Hydro Break. We need much less damage to kill them, but we can't resummon our Morpeko, so there's no point evolving anyways, because we can't kill the Palkia if we don't have 4 energies on the Mewtwo. So now they killed off our Morpeko. We need to summon our next V-Union. We have our Peonia. I think our remaining piece, our final piece, is inside the prize. It's a bit sad that once the V-Union dies, there's no way to summon it back. I don't think you can even rod back the pieces into the deck and re-discard them. I don't think it works that way. I feel like there should be a condition that allows you to play it again a second time. Maybe a tool card or something for V-Unions. There should really be new cards for V-Unions though, right? There is the Leafy Camo Poncho for V-Star and V-Maxes, but there is no tool card or item or supporter that actually helps you support the V-Union strategy. So V-Union is very difficult on its own. There is only Professor Banette that I can think of that actually helps you support a V-Union. Nothing else. Familiar Bell, I guess, but Ultra Ball, but those are pretty common cards. We need something specific, something like a Leafy Camo Poncho that only works for V-Unions. That would be pretty cool. That would be so cool to watch and to play, especially. Okay, so we're checking our deck. We can't actually play our Mirage Gate because we don't have enough lightning energy in the deck. So this is the bad thing. They actually discarded our PokéStop, and I don't think we have any more Recycler inside the deck. So we already played our supporter card. We don't have an Ultra Ball. Okay, we are not able to play our Mewtwo this turn, unfortunately. If we did though, I don't think it would help us anyways because we don't have the Recycler. But I don't think we have the Recycler on the next turn. So this game, we actually only are playing 2 copies of Recycler. Eventually, I realized that we need a lot more. So we have 1 Rod and 2 Recycler for the final upgrade. Initially, we only had 2 Recycler and no Rods. So even if you have a Rod, that 1 Rod is going to help you because it's helping you play at least 1 Mirage Gate. And all you need is 1 Mirage Gate. If you have a Psychic or a Lightning in your hand, you can attach it from your hand onto the Mewtwo. Well, you need a Psychic though, right? If you don't have a Psychic, that's why we are playing 5 copies of Psychic and only 4 Lightning, just because Morpeko only needs 1 Lightning for you to attack. I actually wanted to play 5 with a lot more Psychic and only 3 Lightning, but I tried that list, it doesn't work that well. So eventually we had now 4 Lightning and 5 basic Psychic, because if you only have 3 Lightning, you wouldn't be able to play the gate that easily. You would, it keeps showing up too often. If you have too many of your lightning energy lost it or discarded, you are playing Comfey as well, you may actually lose your energies. So you have to think about that. If you lost too many of your lightning, or if you lost even 1 copy and have two copies in your hand, one discarded, one in the lost zone, and one in your hand, for example, then you have none in your deck. That means you can't play your Mirage Gate without doing the energy recycler. And if you are playing energy recycler, you are only recycling one copy of energy just to help you attack on that one turn, which is not very smart, is it? So that's why we now have an extra copy of lightning just to prevent that from happening. So there we go, we have no more recycler. I think we got one prized. So we should really be playing the Peonia. I'm pretty sure we have one more copy though. I don't know why we have no more recyclers right now. There we go, we played the Mirage Gate and only got one. And we actually did our Union Gain. We played Union Gain this turn. We should have done Peonia though. I don't know why we didn't do Peonia. I'm pretty sure the final energy recycler is in the prize. I don't think it's in the lost zone. I don't think we lost it a recycler. And they discarded one from the top 5 cards with the Riley. So Riley is destroying us by discarding the recycler. So sometimes you get unlucky that way. Your opponent is probably going to discard your Mirage Gate and recycler. If they see it at the top 5 cards of your deck, it's getting discarded. So don't hope for them to choose the other cards. They're going to discard your items for sure. Because if they discard your supporter, you got your Banette to retrieve them. If they discard your Banette, you got your Rod to basically shuffle them back. So they know what you're doing. They know you have a PokéStop. They know you're playing recycler and rods. So they are probably going to discard your item cards. Good thing about this deck is that we have a lot to spare though. Now that we finally went through all the experimentation. This is one of the experiment games, but we actually won this one surprisingly. But after all the trials and errors, we realized that we need 4 solid copies of Mirage Gate and 3 recycler, or even 2 recycler and 1 rod. So now we have 1 rod to substitute for the recycler, just because sometimes it's unnecessary. Most games I play the recycler only to shuffle back 2 or even 1 energy. So that's why I eventually decided, you know what, let's just play a rod, because why not? We're shuffling back only 2 copies anyways. Why not just do a rod? It would be a waste to play a recycler, like 3 recycler, just to shuffle back 3 energy, when you only need 2, honestly. So sometimes you're forced to play Peonia, because if too many of your energies end up in the prize, you have to play Peonia just to get them out, and discard them, play a recycler just to play your Mirage Gate. If you don't discard them and recycle, then they won't be inside your deck. You cannot play Gate to summon. You cannot play Gate to reverse attach them onto your V-Union. That means you're gonna have to attach them one by one from your hand, and that's virtually impossible, because if you attach them one by one, having it on your bench, your opponent is gonna boss and damage you, and then you're gonna be dead on your next, on your next turn. That means you only have 1 turn to attack with your V-Union. We want to be attacking twice at least. We want to be hitting twice with each V-Union, using either Psysplosion, 1 turn with Psysplosion, 1 turn with Final Burn, and for Morpeko, we get to do 1 turn with Electric Ball, 1 turn with Burst Wheel. Or maybe even double Burst Wheel if we have enough Mirage Gate to spare. So if we have, for example, 3 Mirage Gate in our hand, we can save 1 for Mewtwo and use 1 for Burst Wheel this turn, use the other for another Burst Wheel on the next turn. Obviously, we would need Recycler though, because you are discarding your energies from Morpeko, doing 100x damage for each discarded energy. That's a lot of damage. If you play double, I think at one point in the game we had double Mirage Gate for a single Morpeko. We did 400 damage with Burst Wheel, because we have 4 energy attached to Morpeko, and all you need is 1 lightning though. 1 lightning and 2 colorless is the cost. That means you can attach 1 lightning and like all different types of energy, grass, fire, whatever, what have you. You just need 1 lightning and 2 colorless. Okay, they did a boss because they couldn't kill the Mewtwo. Palkia is not doing enough damage. Because we have no bench Pokemon. So thank God we got to survive an extra turn because we actually had to play Union Gain. If we had an extra recycler, if we played a Peonia, I'm pretty sure we wouldn't need to play the Union Gain. Oh, we don't actually have the recycler though. We don't have a recycler from the prize. So I don't think we have enough recycler for this deck, for this list. For the final upgrade, we have enough, I assure you. We have 2 recycler and 1 rod. I keep repeating that, but it's it's necessary because for that game we only have 2 recycler and no rods, and one of them I think it's in the lost zone early in the game, and one of them got discarded by Riley. That's why I say you need a lot of copies of those cards. We got pretty unlucky with PokéStop, I guess, because we didn't discard our items early. We got, something else instead. We even played Comfey before the Riley. So sometimes it's better to play Riley first before you do the Comfey. That's why we have only 2 copies of Riley now. So Riley sometimes is gonna screw you over. Now we have 2 Marnie, 2 Colress, and only 2 Riley instead of 4 copies of that terrible supporter card. It's not really that terrible though, because if your opponent is forced to discard your V-Union, for example, if you have 4 copies of V-Union, well, you wouldn't be that lucky though. If you have 3 pieces of your V-Union at the top 5 cards of your deck, and like a Meowth in play, that's why we have a Meowth now. If you have a Meowth on your bench, they would probably not give you your V-Union pieces, because if they put them into your hand, then it would essentially be the same thing. You are discarding with your ability. If they discard it for you, then you are getting your other cards into your hand instead. So whatever they do, you're going to be safe with that Riley. That's why we have a Meowth now. Meowth is going to help us a lot, not only for the discard, but also to force our opponent to think even more carefully, to give them the dilemma what to discard with that Riley. Obviously, if we have VIP pass at the top 5 cards of the deck, they're going to give us those trash cards, VIP, Great Ball. I don't think Great Ball is that terrible though, because it's going to help us get extra copies of the V-Union. They may just give us too many energies, right? If we have too many energies in our hand, we have to discard and recycle them. So it's kind of the same thing as discarding our energies, because we have Meowth to discard our energies as well. Okay, here comes a Lost Box. We're playing a V-Union Lost deck versus a full-on Lost Box with Sableye, Cramorant, and Radiant Charizard. We actually forgot that they had a Radiant Charizard. I was so preparing for a Greninja, and at the last second they pull out a Radiant Charizard. Surprise, surprise, it was a Charizard. I don't think I've seen this deck in a while. Like, Charizard has been off the format for so long. I don't know why. People keep playing Greninja. I keep seeing Greninja everywhere with Goodra, with Giratina, and even, with nothing but Cramorant and Sableye. Some decks actually play Amazing Rare with Greninja, which is actually a very powerful combo. So any Amazing Rare would work really well, honestly, with a Lost Box. If you play a bench snipe though, I think you would need Lost City. Lost City with your Raikou or Amazing Kyogre. Kyogre is a bit more difficult though, because you're only doing 80. You just need 3 strikes though, don't you? If you can hit 3 times with Telescopic Sight, and if you have Cologne against the Menifee, or if you can kill the Menifee with your Cramorant, having the Lost City in play early, you can actually lost the Menifee and then use your Kyogre later on in the game, or even play Sableye with Lost City. You don't need a boss if you play Lost Mine to kill off the Menifee. So that means all you need to do is play the Mirage Gate, attach your Telescopic Sight, and then hit 3 times with your Kyogre for a knockout. But Kyogre is quite difficult though. You need 4 energies. How are you gonna charge up for the final copy? If you play Amazing Rayquaza, I don't think it's that easy to do extra damage unless if you have a Raihan. So I guess Raihan would be the safety net. Raihan would be the answer to the 4 energy attack cost. If you play Gate and Raihan, you got 4 energy in a single turn to play any amazing rare. If you play Yveltal though, you would need twin energy with a Mirage Gate, right? Raihan, Mirage Gate, twin energy, and you got 5 energy thanks to the special. If they play a Temple of Sinnoh though, you have to do a stadium as well. If you don't play a stadium, you can't use your twin energy. You can't use Amazing Destruction. So Gudra is a big thing now. Gudra V-Star is basically swallowing up the format, and we need some way of dealing with that. So I guess Amazing Yveltal would be a really strong counter. We have Burst Wheel for this deck to kill Gudra, but we can't actually do it that many times. If they summon a second Gudra, if they get the second one charged up with Mirage Gate fast, I don't think we can kill the second one that easily. Because we need 400 damage. We need 350 damage to kill off the first Gudra, and that means we need 2 Mirage Gate just to do the first Burst Wheel for the first knockout. And if they don't do anything on the next turn though, we can play Union Gain. We can Union Gain and then do Burst Wheel for the second Gudra V-Star knockout. And then same thing for the third one. If they don't have Mirage Gate early, if they, run out of their Mirage Gates for some reason, or if they are playing Melanie instead of the Gate, they may not be able to evolve the second one that easily. If they are a bit too slow, we got our Union Gain to pick up, to recollect our energies and do our second Burst Wheel for free instead of having to play another Mirage Gate. Okay, here comes Psysplosion doing a double 1 prize knockout for 16 damage counter placement. We got 15 and 16, knocking out a Sableye, Comfey, and placing 10, 1 damage counter on the Cramorant. We got Peonia and Morpeko. I love Morpeko though, it's like so underrated. Morpeko V Union with Burst Wheel, such a powerful attack. It has no limit. You get to attach 10 energies and do 1000 damage. Right? But you're forced to discard all energies though. So you kind of need Flaffy or some other way to recover those energy, like a recycler and, maybe a recycler, and there's no other way to attach freely from your hand. The only card I can think of is Hydreigon. Hydreigon allows you to attach freely darkness energy from your hand to any of your Pokemon. Cherim only works for 1 prize, non-rule box Pokemons. Whereas Frostmoth only works for water type Pokemon, and Bronzong doesn't actually help you attach, it only helps you transfer. So there is no other card but Hydreigon that actually helps you attach freely from your hand to any of your Pokemon, which is very rare. There is Dragonite V-Star though, I guess. You can play Dragonite V-Star with Morpeko. But you can't keep any energies though. They don't actually give you the option. If you can attach 10 energies on Morpeko in 1 turn with your Draconic Star and then choose how many to discard every single turn, then you can actually discard 5 at a time to do 500 damage twice, knocking out 2 Gudra V-Star with 1 shot with 1 Morpeko V Union. But they don't give you that option, right? That attack is actually quite terrible in that way, just because you are forced to discard all energy attached to this Pokemon. You cannot choose how many you are discarding. As opposed to your Raichu, right? Raichu V allows you to choose how many energy, discard any amount of energy from your Pokemon, from any of your Pokemon as well. So I think Raichu is much more free. It gives you a lot more freedom, but you are doing less damage for each discarded energy, 60x instead of 100x. I don't care though, I still love Morpeko. Morpeko is so adorable and powerful. Like, it's so unique. I don't think there's anything that does Burst Wheel for 100x. any attack like that. There's just nothing like that, is there? El Creamy VMAX 60x. There isn't anything that does 100x. There's gonna be a Dragapult for Silver Tempest. I'm not sure which set is gonna be in because it's supposed to come out for Lost Origin. I think it's in Lost Abyss or Dark Phantasma. I forgot which one it is. But Dragapult actually has the attack that allows you to do 100x damage for each GP you have on your bench, right? So for each basic GP on your bench, you get to target, you get to hit 100x damage, and not only that, you get to choose any of your Pokemon, any of your opponent's Pokemon. My bad. You get to choose any of your opponent's Pokemon for the number of times equal to the number of GP you have on your bench, and do 100x damage to those Pokemon for that number of times. So that means if you have 4 GPs, you get to do 400 damage, spreaded damage. You can even focus that onto a single Pokemon. I think so. I'm not too sure honestly, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. Okay, here comes the Charizard. Here comes the crazy dragon. It's supposed to be a dragon type, isn't it? But it's a fire type. The Mega is actually a dragon, but I'm not sure about the Gigantamax. I don't think the Gigantamax has a different type. So the Mega Charizard is a dragon type. And there's gonna be a terrestrialization for the next set as well. For the next generation. But I'm not sure what's gonna happen for the TCG. Let's hope terrestrialization happens in the next gen TCG. I would really love a terrestrial tool card that actually changes your type for any Pokemon. That would be so cool. Or even a stadium with a tool. If they force you to play a stadium with a tool card just to change your Pokemon's type, I would be down for that. Like anything. We have nothing but Kecleon now to change the type, which I think still is okay, because we don't really need... it would actually be a little bit broken if you can change any Pokemon's type. I think that would be quite destructive to the game itself. Okay, we got our V-Union, and now we played our Recycler. Now we just need to do our Mirage Gate. We got 2 copies of the Gate. We're going to attach our energy for the retreat. So Meowth is actually quite dangerous because it has 2 energy retreat costs. If you have your Banette in the active spot, you can actually lost it for the retreat. For the free retreat, if you have your Comfey, you need either an energy from your hand for the retreat cost, or a air balloon escape rope. If you have your Meowth, you're forced to play either the air balloon or escape rope. If you don't have either of those two, Meowth is not able to retreat. So obviously never put your Meowth as in the active spot. If you get bossed, I think you're gonna have to search for your tool card, or even Peonia for it if it's in the price. But I don't think it's that difficult to get one of the switches. If they play Duran, for example, we have our Mewtwo to basically snipe for extra prizes, but that would mean they can do a boss to trap us with the Meowth, and I don't think we stand a good chance against Duran, honestly, because we don't have that many switch cards. We do have 4 PokéStop though to help us remove the Galar Mine. But if they confuse our V-Union as well or discard too many energies, we're done for. We only have 4. They are discarding our deck as well. If they discard our Mirage Gates and discard energy with Crushing Hammer as well, we would be done for. So Duran would be the perfect matchup if you want to defeat this deck. If you want to win using this deck, then I think the perfect matchup would be, well, V-Stars. If you play against V-Stars, they would have a high chance of winning because Final Burn is doing 300 damage, killing a V-Star with 1 hit. If you play against a V-Max though, you would need to do Burst Wheel with 2 Mirage Gate. If you don't play 2 double gates on your Morpeko, you can't actually kill a V-Star with 1 hit. Because Burst Wheel is only doing 300 damage for 3 energies. If you do final burn, you would need double Mirage Gate as well, unless if you already attach one on your last turn. So I think there was a previous game where we did a there was one of a game, I don't think it's the previous game, but there's one of I think it's the next one, where we did our Morpeko. We attacked with Morpeko while attaching an energy onto our bench Mewtwo, because we actually get to summon our V Union, our second V Union, while attacking with the first one. So I think that would be the ideal case. If you can do that, make sure you do it fast, because if you have both V Unions in play, you can actually attach one energy from your hand, one extra energy without doing the gate. You got an extra energy in the game by attaching on this turn, and then on the next turn you get another one with your Mirage Gate, and you got 4 energies for your final burn. Okay, we got another recycler, so that means we are safe for this game. We don't have to discard our recycler. You never know if you're getting Marnie though. We don't have a Milotic, so they can quite easily do a Marnie or a Judge to put those cards back into the deck, or even a Roxanne at some point. So never hope for your hand to be the same for more than a turn, honestly, because on the next turn it can all be gone in just a flash. Okay, we're gonna retrieve our Riley and play it right now. Oh, we actually played it already. We already played our Riley, so we're gonna just pass the turn. We need 2 more pieces of our Mewtwo, and I think that's the money bag for this game. If we can get the Mewtwo V Union against a Met Party deck, we can place so much damage counter, and if they keep benching though, they're done for, right? Even Ditto. If they have Ditto, 2 Dittos in play, we can kill both with 1 Psysplosion, in addition to maybe a Sinistea. Well, it's not enough because we only have 2 extra damage counter, but we can knock it out later. Get an extra knockout by knocking out the Poltegeist for only 4 damage counters eventually, right? If they play another 2 Dittos, we can kill 2 Dittos and then place another 2 damage counter on the Poltegeist, and then at the last minute kill off like a Poltegeist with a Snorlax or something like that. They actually are playing a very weird list. So they have Cape of Toughness for both the Ditto and the Snorlax, I guess. They can attach the Cape to Bunnelby as well. So Ditto only has 70 HP. That means the Cape is going to help them survive a bit longer, because they know that Met Party decks are weak because of the low HP. So if you play even Lost Mind Sableye, you can knock it out quite easily. You can win a Met Party deck quite easily, because you're placing 12 damage counter every single turn with your Sableye, and they don't stand a chance. So that's why I guess they need the Cape. I don't think they have the space to play that many Capes though, because they need so many Ultra Balls and ways to discard their deck, and they need a full-on 16 copies of those Met Party cards, which is going to be a bit too much, I would say. So if you play Ditto, you can actually do 320 full damage with Met Party, right? That would be quite interesting. That would be delicious, wouldn't it? And you wouldn't need Choice Belt. If you have a Choice Belt, you can kill a Gudra V-Star with all Met Party cards discarded and 1 Ditto. If you have, what's it called again? If you have a few copies priced though, you would need your Heavy Ball and Peonia, because Poltegeist and Mr. Rhyme could end up in the prize. If you play PokéStop for your Met Party deck, it's going to be quite disruptive. We actually won a PokéStop deck once. It was quite late. It was quite long ago, and there wasn't, Lost Box wasn't out yet, and Met Party was still a big thing back then. I think it was when the Pokemon Go set was released, and people started playing Ditto with Met Party, and it was kind of a big thing back then. Not as big as Lunatone, but still almost quite as big. And they actually discarded too many of their special energies. So if you discard your Twin Energy and Double Turbo with your PokéStop, you cannot actually attack anymore because you have no more energy. And if you don't play enough Rosen's Research, well, Rosen's Backup, my bad. If you don't have enough of those supporters to shuffle back your energy, and even if you do shuffle it back, you have to get it immediately after doing that. So I don't think it's that easy playing Roseanne's backup, because you're only shuffling back one copy of your special energy. You have to get it back on the next turn immediately. Well, on the same turn actually. Okay, we can actually play some other supporter card though, because we just need one more discard. We can actually do Ultra Ball and Meowth to discard the final copy, because I think it would be better for us to get a Psychic Energy into our hand, because right now we don't have a Psychic Energy in our hand, and that means we need to play Double Gate just to attack with Psysplosion. We cannot use Psysplosion without attaching a Psychic Energy from our hand if we want to play only one copy of Mirage Gate. So now we actually have to waste our second copy just to use the first attack, which is quite terrible. We can't even use Final Burn, even after attaching 4 energies, because we need 3 Psychic and 1 Colorless. So we should have kept the Lightning inside the deck. I don't know why I did that. We should have just attached the Psychic, and I guess I was preparing for Crushing Hammers. If they do Crushing Hammer though, they would probably discard the Psychic Energy. Like, why wouldn't they? So I don't think it makes sense for us to attach the second Lightning. Maybe for the retreat cost, I don't know. Okay, we knocked out for our first 2 prize. They actually have a Mimikyu, a heal jamming Mimikyu on the bench. So they conceded because they know they don't stand a chance. A Mad Party doesn't stand a chance against damage counter decks. Not even a Sableye, let alone a Mewtwo V Union, right? Psysplosion for 16 damage counter every single turn. And they don't even have enough damage in the game to knock it out with 2 hits. I don't think they discarded enough yet. If they kill Mewtwo with 2 hits though, I think we can still win the game with our V Union alone, with the first V Union alone. Because after the first hit, we got our second Psysplosion. Well, no, actually. My bad. So if they kill our Mewtwo V Union with 2 hits, we would need to summon our Morpeko to collect the final 2 prize, because that means we have one final shot with Psysplosion. But we are basically putting pressure. We are putting a lot of pressure on them time-wise, because they need to hit our Mewtwo this turn. Right? If they don't damage it right now, and if they don't kill it off on the next turn, they're done for. Okay, here come a Rapid Strike deck. Rapid Strike with Zeraora and Placelminen. A very, very interesting combo. Not a 1 prize, but still a Rapid Strike deck. I think they have a Flaffy. They have Flaffy instead of Rapid Strike Energy, and they're doing maybe double turbo. I don't know. So we played Marnie early, which is great. So Marnie on the first turn is always very, very helpful, because it's going to destroy your opponent's hand if they don't play anything but a basic. So they didn't even bench a basic on the first turn, and they hardly played anything. They didn't play anything. They got no cards in the discard pile. That means they did not play any item or energies. Okay, we're gonna get a Banette, probably. Or are we gonna get another piece? Because we don't need a lot more for the summon. We just need one final piece to get our Morpeko into the game. Manaphy is going to be important, so we have to bench the Manaphy, but we're going to do it on the next turn, because that actually allows us to keep our bench, save our bench against Avery, right? If we have four Pokemons on the bench, it would be a bit safer. That means we only are forced to discard one if they play an Avery. If we lost the Banette, we get to actually free up a bench spot for the next turn to play the Menifee. So that's why we chose to bench it on the next turn. If they play a Marnie though, it would be quite bad. So they did a copycat. I'm not sure if they played that or did a quick ball. Did they do a quick ball to discard the copycat? I'm pretty sure they did that. Okay, here comes a Minun. They're probably gonna do Call for Family, and then plus Duo. Oh my goodness, they just passed the turn. They did not attack. So no switch cards, no supporter. I'm not sure if that was a quick ball or did they just play it from their hand. I don't really know. Sorry guys, I should be paying attention. Sorry. Okay, here comes the first Riley, and they're discarding our first Mirage Gate. Terrible. They could actually choose to discard our boss though, but they know we have a Banette, so chances are they would be discarding our items. So Banette is actually giving off that we can retrieve our boss or any other supporters for that matter. They may make the mistake of discarding the supporter though. I don't think they will, now that they spend so much time deciding. Okay, here comes the discard. They discarded the boss and a Mirage Gate. They should be discarding our air balloon though, right? Because I guess if they discard the boss, we wouldn't be able to retrieve. If we don't play Banette for the boss, then we can't use it for its effect. So if they discard our supporter, then they are actually pressuring us to play our ability to summon the right supporter, because we can't actually play that many times anymore. We only have that many Banettes to spare, and if we retrieve the wrong supporter, we wouldn't be able to play the boss, we wouldn't be able to play the Peonia, we wouldn't be able to discard with Banette. So discarding the supporter can actually be pretty disruptive sometimes. Okay, we got VIP Pass Lost It, which is the ideal case. How many cards in the Lost Zone? We have 6 now. So we just need to play the Lost Sweep. And we got 7. Let's do our Morpeko this turn. We got enough energy in the game, but I don't think we can retreat though. I think we already... okay, I think the reason we're doing it this turn is because... we know they have a Marnie, right? If we don't do it right now, they're gonna Marnie us. So let's just play the Lost Sweep to help us use the Mirage Gate. Because if we don't play Lost Sweep, we can't play the Mirage Gate. And before playing the Mirage Gate, please check your discard pile to see if you need to play your energy recycler. If you don't play a recycler, and if you have too many energy discarded, you cannot use your Mirage Gate to attach more than 1 energy. You need to play recycler first before doing your Mirage Gate, but not all the time. Make sure you check. If you waste your recycler, you're not gonna be able to shuffle back enough times. You're not gonna be able to do it enough times for you to play the Mirage Gate to attack with your second V Union, and that's actually important for you to win the game. If you don't attack with your second V Union, you're done for, because the first one is not enough. Like, make no mistake, the first one is just not enough. We have no Cramorant, we have no Sableye, so that's the reason we need our second V Union. We do have our Peonia and Banette to recover it from the discard pile, so that means if we can play more than 1 Peonia, or even maybe sometimes just 1 is enough. If we play 1 Peonia to retrieve one of the 2 pieces that we need, if we have both of the loose pieces, both of the V Union prize though, that would be quite bad. If we have one of the V Union prize, then we may be forced to play the other one. If they play like fighting deck, we have to play our Mewtwo though, because you know, Morpeko is weak towards fighting type. If they play a darkness box, then we actually need to play our Morpeko instead of Mewtwo. So sometimes we have no choice because we have those remaining pieces prized. That's why PokéStop is there, for us to discard fast, for us to have Peonia either drawn into our hand with a supporter card fast, or discarded so that we get to play our Banette to use the Peonia as early as possible to help us get the remaining pieces and discard it to summon our V Union. Okay, we got our first hit. We're gonna do Electric Ball for our first knockout. Saving Burst Wheel for the last second. Always remember that you have Union Gain. Don't freak out. If your opponent passed one turn, you can do Union Gain and then Burst Wheel on the next turn, right? For 400 damage because you got 3 energy on the last turn, passing the turn. That means you can attach an extra one from your hand before using Burst Wheel for a second time, doing 400. Killing off anything across the board, even a Duraludon VMAX with a Bomber Snow. Unless if they have like a big charm in addition to that. Gudra V-Star is not quite a lot though, is it? If you have a Gardevoir with Gudra, Gardevoir and Lake Acuity, you are doing like 90 less damage. That means you need 390 damage to kill off the Gudra. Well, my bad, 370 damage, right? I'm not sure now. Oh no, 80 less damage, right? 80 less damage with the attack. That means you're doing 120 less damage with your V Pokemon on the Gudra. That means you would need, how much is that? 390 damage, yep. If you have a tool card attached to your Gudra though, if you have a big charm attached to it, you can actually increase the limit even more. That means your opponent would need 420 damage to kill off the Gudra. I don't think they would play Lake Acuity though, because stadium cards are so easy to play these days. If you play your PokéStop from your hand, you can easily displace the Lake Acuity for you to do extra damage, extra 20 damage. Remove that 20 damage reduction from the game. That means all you need is 410 damage to knock it out. They would most probably be playing Crystal Cave instead, because that actually gives them a higher level of control. That means they get to heal on their turn right after playing it from their hand. Immediately after using that card, they get to use it for its effect instead of having to pass the turn and hoping your opponent doesn't play a stadium card to displace your Lake Acuity. So Lake Acuity is not really a good card to play, honestly. Gardevoir and Fantina is not that powerful either, because if they play one price non-rule box Pokemons, you can't actually reduce damage done by those Pokemons. If they do Fantina on your V-Union though, you are doing 240 less damage, right? 240 less damage if they use the attack on the last turn, and if they have Gardevoir, Lake Acuity, Fantina already played. That would be virtually impossible to knock out. We would need... How much would we need? If they have a big charm as well, how much would we need? 410, right? Without the Lake Acuity, if we have a PokéStop. 410 plus Fantina. That would mean we need 6 energies. We need 6 energies on Morpeko. Or like 5 and a Choice Belt. Choice Belt would actually have a lot of value in this deck, because we have Mewtwo for Final Burn, knocking out a VMAX with a Choice Belt if we have it. And also Burst Wheel. We just need 1 Mirage Gate with Burst Wheel to kill a VMAX as well. So Choice Belt is going to add a lot of value, but I don't think we can find a space for it if we want enough consistency for this build. Because playing 2 V-Union, if you want to summon 2 V-Union in a game, you know, if you want to make sure you can attack with both V-Unions at the same time on the same game, you have to add a lot of consistency card. If you don't have enough support cards, if you don't have enough trainer cards to support the V-Union summon, then you can't actually play both attackers. And if you don't use both attackers, you're done for. Like, I don't think 1 V-Union is enough. Okay, they did not kill the Morpeko, and now we got a free shot for another 2 prize with Burst Wheel. I think we have 3 items There we go. We got 3 items on the last 3 cards of the deck. And now we're gonna discard. We can't actually play Meowth, because Meowth actually requires you to have cards in the deck to search for. Evolution Roar only allows you to discard cards from your hand. If you can search your deck for a Berserker, if you have no cards in the deck left, you cannot search your deck. That means you can't discard any cards from your hand with that ability. So that means we need to play Recycler first before doing the discard. And that's still okay because we get to summon right now. And then play the Mirage Gate maybe on the next turn or even on this turn. I think it would be better if we do it on the next turn, because we have to discard our energies on the Morpeko. That means, you know, even if they play a Marnie, we got only 3 cards in the deck, we would be getting something back. We just need to play our Recycler on the next turn, and maybe Mirage Gate on the Morpeko back. If they force us to get trapped with a Galar Mine or something, if we get trapped in the active for some reason. If they damage the Mewtwo or like knock it out somehow, I don't think they can kill the Mewtwo with 1 hit, because they're not playing a Darkness Pokemon. If they magically have a Moltres, a Galarian Moltres, to do Fiery Wrath for a knockout, I think it would be quite terrible, because they got like 200 plus damage. We already drawn 4 prize, so they're doing 440 damage on the V-Union. Okay, here comes the Snipe. We got Manaphy, so no Snipe. Plusle and Minun. An underrated card. It doesn't work though. We tried it with Zapdos. Plusle, Minun, Zapdos, Choice Belt. Doesn't work. It's not consistent enough, because you need a full bench. If you don't have enough Zapdos on a bench every single turn, you can't do enough damage, and you actually have to attack with Minun as well. If you don't get your tool card, if you don't get your scroll in time, you are not doing enough damage with your Minun, because Plusle is only doing 120. If you have Zapdos and Choice Belt, you're obviously doing 180 damage at least. 180 is a lot for 1 energy for a basic Pokemon, and all you need to do is attack with one of your Minun on the last turn. So Minun gets to use Graph Drop for 2 energies. If you have a Raihan on your last turn or a Flaffy, you can play Graph Drop for 50x damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. And then not only that, you're doing extra damage with your Choice Belt, and Zapdos on your bench as well is helping you add 10 more damage for your Plusle and Minun. And also Zera if you are playing your Zeraora. I don't think we need Zeraora though if you're playing a 1 prize Plusle Minun deck. I think a 1 prize Plusle Minun with Zapdos would actually do a lot. It would perform a bit better than the Zera one. So that's all for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Have a great day and bye for now, lovely people. Enjoy life.